This is the Live Well and Thrive podcast, hosted by Torchia, health and wellness expert. It's time to shape up, America.
Hi, it's Mike Torchia, and welcome to Live Well and Thrive. I have exciting next guests, actually two guests, Louis Lombardi and his dog Bruno. And it's because this is Pet Health Month, I asked Bruno to come in with his dog because I saw a video he did on Instagram with his dog running around so happy. I saw him glowing. I said, you got to come in with your dog for this interview. You'll probably remember Louis from Entourage, Sopranos, and 24, all these other great shows. But today we're going to talk about his life, what's going on with his fitness business, with his daughter as his business partner, and his lovely dog Bruno. So welcome to the show.
Great to be here again, man. Good seeing you.
Great seeing you too. Yes. So tell me about Bruno. Like, how did he come into your life?
You know, I never had a dog in my life, right? And I was always like, I got a dog. It's hard to take care of, blah, blah, blah. So my ex-girlfriend and my daughter one day were like, we need a dog during COVID. And I'm like, I ain't walking them. I'm not picking up dog poo. I'm not doing this. I'm not. They were like, okay, you don't have to. We will. Now... You don't leave my side for a second. I can't even be without him for like 2 hours. I miss him. And I end up walking him, picking up his poo, taking up his pee, and I love him. It's like became my son. I never had a dog.
Wow.
And thank God that they talked me into it. It was one of the best things I ever did in my life. And I watched some of these horrible videos of people like bringing their dogs like outside and putting them on leaving them and putting them at shelters after having them for like 10 years. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that to something that you've had for 10 years and just drop it off one day because you can't take care? It's just unbelievable how people, if I had a ton of money, I would give it all to like shelters and pets and stuff like that. Absolutely, I would do that in 2 minutes.
You know, I all of my dogs and cats are rescues.
How many do you have?
Well, I have 2 pit bulls and I have 2 cats. And they all came to me organically.
Right.
A dear friend of mine is Krista Rose. He has a foundation called Last Chance for Animals. And I had these 2 pit bulls that had passed away. They were about 12 years old. And I was heartbroken. And he knew after a period of time I was yearning for my loving pets. So he said, Mike, I have this woman that called our headquarters. There's these 2 pups. They're male, female. They're brother and sister. A homeless woman found them in a bush with the mom, and the mom was really dehydrated, and they were too. And they were going to fatten them up for a little bit, give them nourishment, and you could see them in about 3 weeks. And I said, great. So finally, the woman calls me from this foundation and says, we could come by with the pups. And I said, well, okay. I was looking just to rescue one. She goes, well, let me bring both of them, their sister and brother. So sure enough, she came over, and the female is like this blue-gray, and the brother, the male, had this beautiful black face with white on his chest. And they were so adorable. I said, let's go in the back in the yard. And they're running around. I'm sitting on my chair, and they both jump up on me, and they're licking my face. And I go, they're sister and brother, huh? I go, they're pretty well connected. I can see they're looking at each other. She goes, yeah, I'd hate to have to separate them. I go, they got a new home. You can leave them here.
That's so great.
I gave a donation to her. I swear that they've changed my life, these 2 dogs. They really, because I was heartbroken.
That's so great that you didn't separate them.
No, I couldn't do that. And today they just run around, they play, they run around. they're like they watch each other, and they're very protected. Now the female is an alpha female. So when I walk down the street, if someone's coming down and they're talking loud on their phone, she stops in front of me and starts this. And I say, Bella, no, easy. So she backs down. They're okay. But if she sees someone talking to me, she doesn't get defensive. If we were doing charades one night at my house and my friend was bringing, I go, don't do that, because she went right up, sat down, and just went, I said, you can't raise your hands and you can't raise your voice in my house.
And you have to realize they're protecting you, so you don't want to.
So we don't do charades anymore in my house. But I got to say though, even the cats. So the one cat, my girlfriend was like, my cat died. I said, well, let's go get a kitty. We'll go to the West LA Pound. So we go over there and looked at all the cats, and there was this kitten. It must have been 6, 8 months old. and it said not for adoption. And I walked by, and it was reaching through and grabbing onto my sweater, and it was meowing, this little squeaky crack, and I was like, I like this cat. So I said to the woman, I said, can I see this cat? She goes, no, you can't, because it's going to be put down next week. I said, why? Because it bites. I said, well, cats will nibble. I said, no, I want this cat. No, I want it. She goes, well, you're going to have to sign a form because you can't bring it back. And I said, I don't care. I want this cat. I'm not going to allow this cat to die. This cat has been with me 16 years.
Oh, my goodness.
It is the most incredible.
Has it ever bitten you?
Well, I went home, I'm playing with it, and it was like nibbling my finger. I said, no, never did it again.
Well, I've had cats my whole life, never a dog.
Right.
I always was like, I loved my cats. They would come and lay with me and fetch and, you know.
So now on a weekend, sometimes my friends will call me, Alex Frank Stallone, hey, Mike, what are you doing? I'm on my couch. I got the 2 cats, the 2 dogs, you know, and I watch TV, and I'm going, do I really want to move them? Look at them. They're sleeping. They look so happy. The cat's all curled up with the other pit bull. That cat's over there. I don't want to go anywhere.
Right.
I find, do you know, it's like sometimes you stay home because you don't want to go anywhere?
Absolutely, 100%. I do it all the time. I go out, I'm just chilling with him. I tell my daughter, I don't want to go. She's like, go out. You never go out. I just want to chill out. I go for my little walks with him every day on the beach. We just stroll around and get in my car. It's just nothing better, you know? I can't deal with people as much anymore.
You know, there is a physiological, like, effect with pets. There's this video, I'll send it to you, where the scientist talks about, like, when a dog feels you're crying or upset, it likes to come over and put its chin on you. When that happens, your body starts secreting the love hormone, oxytocin, because the dog is absorbing your pain. That's when the dog does that.
Right.
When they touch you with the paw, they want to absorb your pain because you're upset. They want to feel that pain to kind of take it from you.
Right.
And and they're healing. That's why they bring the dogs to the hospital and they place them like a puppy on the patients because it's healing.
Right.
So it's not just, I feel love. No, they have healing.
They sense it.
Right.
He does that too. If something's wrong and I'm sitting there like miserable, he'll come and he'll just lay right on me. He'll put his head on me. He'll just lay on. He could see that he understands that there's an issue. It's amazing. I've never had a dog, and now I'm like, you know, I can't imagine. I can't even remember when I didn't have a dog. It's only 4 years I've had him, and now he's like my son. She makes fun of me, my daughter. She's like, you treat him better than me. Of course you got to.
Do you cook for Bruno or what?
Bruno eats. Get a laugh. Are you kidding? He eats chicken. He eats steak. He eats. I feed him healthy. I give him a little bit. I don't put salt on the foods. I kind of make him little burgers. I make him his chicken. But he eats pretty good. You know, he eats pretty good.
Has he tried your pizza?
Yeah, of course. Give him the crust. Yeah.
Now, does he sense if he doesn't like them? Does he have that kind of?
You know what it is? He's very nervous, and he has this nervous energy. Even the doctors, because I take him to the vet, they're like, no, it's just he's protective, so that's why he'll bark. Like if somebody sees all these people here, that's why, because he'll sense like you know there's people, so it's almost like protecting you. So that's why I try not to say no, because it's more out of protection than more out of like just being vicious. If you went near him, he'll run. He's afraid of everything. We walk him. He's afraid of leaves blowing. If the wind's blowing, he won't walk. You know, so he's like afraid of everything. But this is what he does. See this? 24/7 in my arms at middle of the night, middle of the day.
That loving feeling must be so beautiful. You can hear his heartbeat.
Yeah. And I love him. He's like my child. He's like my son. That's why I watch these things, and it makes me so upset when these people leave their pets. I'm like, man, I hope something happens on your way home from dropping that dog off to you and your fucking family. You had something for 10 years. That's your child. How do you not let the rest of it live out with you at an older age? You put it in a shelter because you have to move or you have to do something. It's heartbreaking. I hate people. Like when I watch some of these stories, like it makes you really dislike people. Like how do you do that to something that you've had for especially 10, 12 years?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Just giving them up.
I tell my daughter, if anything, God forbid, if anything ever happens to me and I'm not around, you got to bring them to know that like something happened to me, like if I pass away, to show them, because they say if they sense it, if you bring them, it'll bring closure that you don't feel like you abandoned them. Right. I read a whole thing on this journal saying, if you ever pass away, they'll be looking for you. But if you show them that you're not, for whatever reason you passed away, they will be at ease because they'll sense it.
Yeah. So, well, a few months ago, I had a German Shepherd that passed away, and she was the patriarch of the home. The 2 pit bulls, when I had her, were like her babies. and she loved the cat, so she ran the house. And unfortunately, she had lung cancer, and the vet said, she doesn't have much time to live. So I was just spoon feeding her and hydrating her with a little dropper, just so because she wasn't in pain, but she was laboring to breathe. And I just remember it was on a Sunday morning at 3:38. She looked up at me and made a little sound, and put her head on my chest. Passed away. I got to say, the cats came all over. The 2 dogs came over, and they just all leaned on me. And there she was laying on me. She's just laying there, and I was torn up. They all just were leaning on me, all 4. And it was a beautiful thing. And I got to say, for 3-4 weeks, everybody was like, the energy was so low. You could see they barely didn't want to eat. I mean, the connection. That's why I tell people, you got to bring animals in your life.
You got to. You got to.
And you got to, and if you select a dog, and it's a working dog like a pit bull or Rottweiler or Doberman, you got to exercise them.
Yeah.
They'll tear shit up. Why do you think they're chewing up the couch and the shoes and all this stuff?
You got to take them out, right? I take Kim even for drives. Like, we'll go to the beach, and even if we're not walking, we'll just drive around. We do it all the day. I see he sits on my lap, he looks at, and then when he gets home, relaxes. He goes right to bed on the couch. Isn't like built up from staying in all day. I take him everywhere with me. I got a service dog jacket. So if I go into a store and I got to run in, I put his little jacket on.
Hey, you know what? I mean, I can't see why people would turn down, especially if you go to a restaurant. Come on, what's the dog going to do?
Right, especially if he's well behaved.
Right.
If he's well behaved and he's chill and he's just on your lap, I don't get it. It's just like, I'd rather have a dog with me than half the people I know. Especially in LA.
Yeah, in LA for sure.
Yeah. But, it's the best. It's the best thing to have a companion. They're so loyal. No matter, you could go outside for 5 minutes to come back in and act like they haven't seen you in 20 years.
Yeah.
Happy and loving, jumping on you, and just, it's hard to get like annoyed with like that kind of affection all the time.
It was so funny. I remember one time I was running to an appointment, and I left the house. I said goodbye to everybody, and then I go, oh shoot, I forgot. I had I was a deck or presentation deck I was bringing with me. I come back in, and the dog's like this, all excited, and I looked at them and I said, but I just left, right? So I remember when I was at the meet, I said, I had to bring this up. I said I forgot the presentation deck. I ran back in, and these dogs, they're licking me. They're all excited, and I was just kind of like 20 seconds. I said, gee, if I can only find a woman that gets half excited as those dogs, I'll marry her.
Never. Never. You're not going to find that. Unless the bank account's good, then it's about 6 months. Then they're like, okay, we're gone. Yeah. Thanks for the bank account. But yeah, the loyalty.
That unconditional love, baby. Come on.
I'm telling you, we'll go throw the garbage, and he'll go crazy like I haven't seen him in a year, and it's like 30 seconds. And it's constant. It's always.
Yeah.
And you can't beat that,
Because the show's called Live Well and Thrive. I got to say, I can see how Bruno brings great joy and happiness. But it helps you physically too. Yeah. That loving, nurturing. You're that father. You have your beautiful daughter Ava, but you also have this special bond at Bruno, which is different.
Insane.
Right.
It's insane. I can't be without him for a minute. She makes fun of me, my daughter. She's like, you treat him better than you treat me. I'm like, well, he can't do anything. You can.
Yeah.
If it ain't for us, what does he
Yeah.
have? Who feeds him? His bowl's empty and we don't feed him. He starves to death.
Yeah.
You can go to eat something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have water in his bowl and you don't do it. So they're so dependent on us that, and I don't mind it. I do it. I'm like the crazy dad. Like when I cook for him, she laughs. Like I'll cut the chicken in little pieces and then I break it and then I won't put salt and I'll be like, no, little pieces. We give him. She's like, what are you doing? I break everything and I feed him right from the little table and he sits there with me. But he's spoiled. He eats really good though. We don't give him garbage. You know what I'm saying? We make our own whipped cream for it. So in the mornings, he has his own puppuccino, which is kind of good for him. We make our own stuff. Yeah. And he heard puppuccino. He's like, where? Are we stopping at the Starbucks?
No, I do the same thing with my dogs. I don't give them anything out of a can or a bag. I give them
we do give them a grain-free, healthy bag.
Those are different.
Right.
I just choose to cook. I pre-cook food, beef, chicken, yam, broccoli.
Yeah,
things
he loves
like that.
yams.
Oh, right.
Loves sweet potatoes.
Oh, they gobble it right up.
Loves it.
Right?
Yeah.
And I usually cook about They eat about a pound of ground beef each twice a day, along with their vegetables and a yam. And I got to say, they're 85 pounds. They're muscular. The skin is, the hair is beautiful. There's no licking the paws. There's no scratching, no hot spots, no runs. Because I'm giving them quality food.
Right. That's so important. Believe it or
you know
not.
what I mean?
Right.
I tell people, you can't give scraps to the dog. Would you give the skin of the chicken to your kid?
Right.
So why would you give it to the dog?
Exactly.
And then you're going to give them a bone. It's going to splinter and cut up their intestinal tract, their stomach.
No,
I don't do any of that.
Right.
That's why you got to. And pig's ear is full of bacteria. The
We
pig's
don't
ear
give them those.
You can't
we give them the bones that are no rawhide, kind of healthier bones.
Yeah, those are okay.
And it's more than just eating it. It's more of it is nervous. Like when he wants to relax, he'll get the bone and he'll sit on you and he'll chew it. So it's almost like today it's terrible, but we're on our iPhones and it's kind of soothes us to a degree, which it really isn't. But with him, you give him the bone, he just lays and chills and chews the bone. So you could do what you want. And he just does it for hours, like chews his bone. You don't really eat it; he just chews on it, and it's kind of like a relaxation thing, I think, for him.
Wow. Now I want to switch gears. So tell me something. Do you really feel that it's the water you use for your pizza that makes a difference?
Absolutely is. And people say no. People go, yeah, it's a big debate on it. And a lot of places out here use New York Water Company, which is a company that emulates the water from New York. And I think it's because they add the minerals. Because, New York water has like minerals in it. If you kind of go into the science of it, there's minerals, there's this, there's that. So what they try to do is they try to replicate that. And they put it in a lot of pizzerias in California do have that.
I think Richie does it now, Mulberry.
Does he? The New York Water Company?
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of them do. You put it up in the corner, and it's filtered. It's like a reverse osmosis system to put the water. Same thing. I believe it's a big difference. Like look at bagels, right? Bagels, bread. A lot of the bread.
The
products.
New York bagels, boy.
Even bread. Go to a bakery in Bronx or Brooklyn, 100-year-old bakery. What do you think they're using? Tap water? Water out of a bottle. They use them right out of the faucet.
Yeah, the artesian wells. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, and I just understand that the whole pizza making process, it isn't about that. If you make a pizza, okay, it's the same 4 ingredients. It's yeast, flour, depending on what flour you use, water, salt, and a little olive oil if you do use olive oil, right? So it isn't as much as the ingredients as it is the process. People don't get that. Like, what's your fermentation? People go, what's that? How long do you leave the dough to ferment? 2 days, 4 days. That's how it gets the flavor, because it eats up the yeast, eats up all the stuff. So it kind of eats up the sugars. So it kind of develops way more of a flavor the longer you keep it in your refrigerator. That's called fermentation. So some people don't have that ability, but it's good to leave it in your refrigerator or outside of your refrigerator. It's okay for 3, it's a 24-hour, a 48-hour, or some people leave it for 5-day fermentation. That's when it's and it's a lot easier to digest. That's when it becomes a lot more digestible. The longer you ferment it. You get it? That's the
so
big
now
thing.
your pizzas are pre-made, correct?
Yes, and then you go into the hydration level. So now fermentation is how long you let it sit for after you make the dough. The hydration process, and a lot of Italians will do, like if you, just give me an example, 10 cups of flour, right? If you do 9 cups of water, that's 90% hydration. So you ever see when you get those big, fluffy, airy crusts?
Yeah.
That's because the water's evaporating into the crust, so that's what brings those air bubbles. You know what I'm talking about?
Right,
You see the crust and it's all fluffy inside and light. That's because the water evaporates inside the dough. The higher hydration, the more airy the dough will be. If you go to a New York pizzeria, they don't do that. They do, they do 50% hydration, because that's why it's a little denser dough.
Right.
So there's differences. So the higher water level, the higher water level in the dough makes it airier and fluffier.
Wow.
Mine is a higher, even though I have a frozen pizza, mine is a New York pizza that we made. It took us 2.5 years to develop. It was a New York pizza that we froze. It wasn't a frozen pizza. So I have, like, if you went to Joe's or a real New York kind of pizzeria, you're getting the same product from my frozen pizza. So when people eat them, they're like, this is not frozen pizza. A lot of people don't believe me, and I have to take the shell out and show them and say, yes, it is.
So if someone wants to get your pizza, is with a website, how do they find it?
No, we don't. It's a hard process to ship pizzas. Like singular. We ship pallets, 10,000 pizzas at a time.
Wow.
But if you have to go, like today, I have to go ship 2 pizzas, it's $250 to overnight them.
Jeez.
So it's really hard to do that kind of business model. I'm not looking to send pizzas all over the country, you know, at $200 a pop.
But you're doing special events.
We do big events with our truck, and we're about to open up a franchise of our business model. What I did was I took an old school product of pizza, right? I kind of still made the same product, right?
Right.
But what I did is I did a totally, you know, like new way of doing business. Employees, operating cost, operating should all be lower. And I created this product where to operate a regular pizzeria, just say it's $10,000 a month, mine's going to be $2,000 with the operating costs, with the equipment, with the employees. I only need part-time employees. So we're working on this business model that we've already got investors in, and we're going to look for locations.
That's amazing. Sounds very affordable.
Very affordable.
Anybody can open it. Yeah.
Anyone. And it's unconventional. You don't need a build out. We don't need hoods. All the pizzas come in already cooked, so there's no waste. There's low employees because they're cutting them out of the things. They're putting them through the oven that we have, which is a special oven. And they cook in 6 minutes. So when we do the truck, we have these ovens that are like $30,000 a piece. You could make 26 pizzas every 6 minutes with one button. That's how we're able to do these massive events with 10, 15,000 people. We do like Jason Aldean concert we did last year in San Diego, 10,000 people here, 10,000. But regular pizzerias can't do that because it takes, even if you're making the 90-second cook process, it still takes, 5-10 minutes to make one pizza.
Yeah.
Where I could do it and still have a New York pizza in 6 minutes and have 30 of them. So all lines go down the block, but we can handle that. Most regular pizzerias can't do that.
So, but if someone wants to learn about the franchise, do you have a website?
Yeah. You can go to our Avalou's Italian Pizza Company website, and, we're on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn, and we're doing a whole business thing.
Yeah, when this comes out, we'll put it on the screen.
And, I'm trying to do, like, where business is going. So the future of business is what? Less employees, low overhead, small footprints, very profitable. That's what my company is. We have no waste. We have everything's made, so nothing's being thrown out. Nothing has to be cooked. You can't be stolen from because everything's accounted for.
Sure.
So I created this same kind of concept, this business model, the future of business, but with the old school product of pizza.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to merge both worlds, and it's working because the pizzas came out great. That we're getting that not from me, from 10,000 people that have eaten them. And I make every pizza on the truck. My daughter runs the business. She does the money, the financials, who to pay. Yeah, and who she hires people. Well, I'm in the back making 400 pizzas a night.
And she's the owner, right?
She's the owner. Want to come over and say hi? All right, come over here. And she does, she's been doing this with me since she's been doing this with me since she's 16. So she got a crash course in business, right?
Good for you.
Without going to school, but on hands and on deck, like you're in there, you're paying people, you're seeing the taxes and what needs to be separated, who we have to pay, what we have to do. So she understands the whole business. No one runs the register but her.
That's beautiful. It's great to see you and your dad working together, in a business, and you being so young, but you're like an adult.
Thank you.
And able to run it.
She'll be 19 on Friday.
My gosh, 19. My God, you don't look 19. Wow.
Thank you.
No, but it's such beautiful energy to see you two together. Whenever you post on Instagram, I love watching you two.
It's always just with her or him. No one else. Him or her or both.
Hey, it's Mike Torchia. I got great news. My sponsor, Texas Slim Cuts, is providing a line of products for Live Well and Thrive. We're going to have high-quality beef jerky sticks that are high protein, not full of any chemicals and dyes and additives that are toxic to the body. Also, we're going to be offering desiccated liver tablets, high protein, antioxidant. We're also going to have 100% beef protein powder in 3 different flavors. Delicious, mixes easily, and is so smooth to drink. And it can be put into your oatmeal and other beverages if you want to add some flavor. Also, final product that we're going to be launching is a organic butter infused with olive oil. Creamy, great tasting, and spread smoothly over your toast, or you can cook with it too. Nothing that's going to have any kind of toxic ingredients or questionable ingredients. So go to operationfitness.com. Within the next few months, you're going to start to see this whole line of products made by Texas Slim Cuts and the ranches up in Texas, and it'll be under the label of Live Well and Thrive products. Thanks for watching. And thanks again for Texas Slim for sponsoring this show, making it possible. And remember, you need to subscribe to YouTube channel. That keeps my show going. And share the episodes. Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, we have a great family business. The idea is I'm brought up by all Italian women, so my whole life is I always cooked since I'm 5. And when she was born, 4 or 5, she was in the kitchen. We have pictures of her 4 or 5 making pizzas. And it's become a family business. It's about bringing families back to the dinner table. We have lost that. Every kid is on their phone. She doesn't sit on her phone when we're out. She's like, we talk. We laugh. We talk, That's the problem with today's society. So I'm trying to explain to people, teach your kids to cook, right? Yeah. And let's bring families back to the dinner table. Put your phone down. Stop these parents. I watch these parents come in with the iPads with the kids. It's like you're setting them up to sit at a dinner table with an iPad in front of them.
It's disrespectful anyway.
Disrespectful. It's just. But you think you're helping your kid. You know what you're trying to do? You're trying to use that iPad as a babysitter instead of you being attention to your kid.
Take responsibility.
Responsibility.
When I was growing up in Westchester, New York, my father, he was a laborer. He worked hard. He'd come home. As soon as my mother puts the food on the table, shut the TV off.
Right?
I want to hear your day.
That's what we did.
And it was always that way, right?
Right.
But today, they're eating separate over here.
Yeah, I'm going to go in the room. I'm going to go on my phone, put the iPad in front of me.
No, that's why you have to have discipline.
Not at our dinner table. I cook every single night. We make everything. She helps me cook. She helps me clean. I like cleaning, so I clean. But she helps me do everything. There's no phones when we're eating. Nothing. God. We just sit there and talk about the food and cooking and, So
you know what I'd like to do, Lou? I'd like to, next time you have a big event, I like to bring my camera crew.
Absolutely.
I want to see you two in action. And the smiles when people are trying the pizza for the first time, right?
Let me tell you something. That's the most gratifying. When I get these trucks and I'm killing myself and there's 200 people online and we get a picture of these pizzas and they're coming back over and over. That's so satisfying to me. And they'll be like, hey, is your dad in the back of the truck? Because our pictures on the back of the truck, like her and me, our faces. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like fun to me. It's not like work, even though I kill myself on that truck. Yeah. Sometimes I can't walk for 2 days. Yeah. She's up there counting the money, you know what I'm saying?
No, but I want to capture. Right. She's the boss with the money.
Yeah.
Making a pizza.
And at the end of the day, I'm dying. I smell like a pepperoni. I'm like, did we do well? She's like, yeah. She counts it all up. She puts it in the thing. We actually just shot a sizzle for a reality show of me and her running the business. And,
oh my God!
Yeah, it looks fun. It's a family thing, and what I did was not just from not from my perspective of pizza, but as a young businesswoman running a company with her dad, and trying to teach kids. Like I know school. Everybody goes school. School is not the end all. School is not the end all. You gotta kind of be in the trenches to learn. That's my belief. I learned how to act by being on sets at NYU films. I didn't go to acting school or film school. I would go to NYU, learn how to act for free at 13 years old. And then I would learn how to get on NYU sets as audition for NYU films. And then I'd get a $100,000 a year education, learning how to make movies for free. So my whole education was show up. I didn't want to be in a classroom. I went to 5th grade. I didn't go to acting school. I didn't go to film school. But over 10 years, I would audition for NYU films as 13, audition, get on sets, and then learn how to make movies with these kids getting a $100,000 a year education. And I learned it all for free. And I did it for 10 years. And then when I got to L.A., I continued that. I got hired. My first 10 films were Oliver Stone, Tim Burton, John Landis. So I would be on sets with the biggest cinematographers. I would be on set with the biggest directors. And I still took that process. What do I learn? How do you do this? Why do you do this? And a lot of the cinematographers, Bob Richardson, Hector Alonso, loved me. They'd be like, come here, kid, we'll show you. So I continued my education up until I heard you guys talking about Clint Eastwood. I did a movie with him called Jersey Boys. And his approach to directing was, go. Not action. And he whispered, go. I'd be like, what does that mean? They'd be like, no, that means go. That means action. And then we'd be like, okay, stop. Like, there was no action, scream, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not using it.
That's true, because when they say action, you're like, yeah.
Right, I'm used to Oliver Stone, like my friend was screaming, cut, yelling. You're like, okay. This guy would just be like, okay, all sedated and shit. And then he'd walk out. And the funniest thing, because I played Christopher Walken's bodyguard in that movie, he would walk by us, me and Walken were partners in the film, and Clint Eastwood would walk by going, more cowbell. And Christopher Walken would turn to me and go, I wish this guy would stop that. That's from him on Saturday Night Live. He would do cowbell. So Clint Eastwood would just just say it all day. More cowbell. Like just be imitating him. And Walker would be like, this guy just keeps doing this. So it's kind of a fun working and Clint Eastwood. It's kind of like, that was one of my highlights of like working with two guys that are just legends. And I would laugh every day. Yeah.
Well, Louis, I want to thank you and Ava and Bruno for coming on.
Say hi. You've been good. Look at you.
I know. And I want to really say that your story was very touching to hear about Bruno, how he's come into your life, how he's added value, and how your lovely daughter is running the business side by side with you. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. And I do suggest and I do recommend to everybody who don't have a pet and kind of lonely, or you kind of go adopt a pet. Go adopt. Give money to the system. Don't go buy dogs. Go adopt someone, one or two little babies, and give them a shot. And I think that's what we need to do. And if I made a lot of money, most of my money would go towards helping animals.
I'm on the same page.
You got it, man.
Thank you, brother.
Good to see you, buddy. Always great. Say bye, Bruno.
Bye, Bruno.
He went to hit Daddy. Get him.
I want to thank you for watching. Please, if you have anybody you care about, share this episode, especially if they're considering adopting a pet. And remember, we need your support. Please subscribe. And thanks for watching. Okay, before wrapping up, I have to introduce you to Aja. She's a colleague of mine. She helps produce this show and makes this possible. But what I love about her is her passion for animals, all kinds of animals. So I needed to end this episode with Louis when he talked about Bruno, is because she is part of this whole process of helping to save animals. And it's Pet Health Month for my show, and actually it's Pet Adoption Month?
Foster a Pet Month.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for everything you do. Share with the audience what exactly you do and what's your goal, what you want to accomplish.
Sure. I mean, I run a foundation called Compassion Kind, and we really focus on compassion for all kinds. So we can be helping birds, we can be helping dogs, we could be helping elephants one day. So it's really just about helping all beings and trying to eliminate suffering and bringing more compassion into the world. So that's the broad goal. And then within the Los Angeles area, we're very focused on foster adoption programs. We do a lot of shelter pulls, a lot of abuse cases locally. We just recently worked the fires for a few weeks, doing evacuations, doing a lot of rescue work on the ground. So it really varies, but that's what we're mainly about, is just, eliminating suffering in all ways that we can.
Now, how did you get involved in this?
I mean, I always say, I feel like I just came out of the womb, rescuing animals. I've been doing this since I was 2 years old, stepping over ant piles and helping lizards and rabbits. But really, it got started for me. I started working in the shelters with their teen program. So I started at Humane Society, SPCA, and then it really kicked off after Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. I saw such a big need, and we ended up with all of these animals stranded on the island, a lot of animals injured, and I just had to think quick. So I used all my shelter connections to start this whole adoption program. And, fast forward, we're on, I think, year 6 now, and we've rescued over 18,000 dogs and cats.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And now, how do you finance this? I mean, do you do fundraisers if the audience want to learn about how to help participate in helping the cause? Where could they make donations? Yeah,
it's really hard. I mean, every day we're posting a fundraiser. We always have a dog in need of surgery. We're not taking the easy cases, we're taking the really tough cases. So we always need donations. All of that information is on our website, compassionkind.org, but we always are running fundraisers on Instagram, Facebook. It seems to be the easiest way these days to really get donations in the door. And we're Compassion Kind on everything, on all social media.
Right. So right now the push is to foster this month.
Yeah. And I love that because, that's such a big need. I think people don't always think about how important it is to foster, but you are actually saving a life. We can't pull a dog. I get, requests all day long of dogs in need that are on their final call of euthanasia. If I do not have a foster in place, I can't do anything. So it's really, really important. And it's been kind of hard, coming from Florida and coming from other states. LA is a different beast when it comes to fostering. I've really struggled with trying to find homes for, just temporary help with taking care of these animals until they find a home. So I love that June is foster month because it's just so needed in Los Angeles. Our shelters are overcrowded. We've got animals all over the streets. We have a really, really big problem here.
Now, I also was informed that a lot of these, I guess, adoption centers or kennels that have too many pets and they have to euthanize them, that they're taking the animals that have been euthanized and then selling them to be made into pet food. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, yes. I was sent some documents when I first moved here because they were like, Asia, they know that I love to do investigative type work and really get to like the root of problems, not just what's going in and out the door and that we have a euthanasia crisis. But unfortunately, yes, we are selling these animals to 5 plants in the Los Angeles area. And I try to hope in all of my hopes that we are not making money off of that instead of getting these animals adopted. But the way that we're euthanizing purebred puppies, small dogs, I've never seen anything like it. And I thought Florida was bad. I thought Georgia was bad. But the emails that I get every day here, it's 1-year-old Bichons, 1-year-old Maltese, a mom with her baby. Like I've never seen euthanasias at this rate.
Yeah, because, a few people have said that they knew about this. Veterinarians are doing it too. Yeah. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
And why a lot of these adoption centers and, kennels are doing it is because they're generating capital.
Yeah.
And even though they're here to help save animals, but they also have to survive. So probably they're saying, well, the end justifies the means, which to me is unacceptable.
Agree.
To put down animals and then it ends up being on that bag rendering meat, because that's what it is.
That's what that means,
roadkill, right? Rendering meat. So I wanted to bring this up during this month, the fact that we need to stand up and stop this, and whatever it takes to stop it, whether to, pass a law that can stop people from doing that, because maybe that'll slow down the process, because they just seem like, well, we need the money anyway, and nobody's adopting them. They've been here 3 weeks, so that's not right, No. There's got to be a way to solve the problem, right?
And I think at least one part of it is we do have very high intake numbers for surrenders here. You can go to, Downey Shelter on any given day or Devour Shelter, and you're going to see 40 to 60 people in line surrendering their animals. We have to get to the root cause as a community. Why can't people keep their pets? I know vet care here is very expensive. It really is. We need better spay-neuter programs. Our voucher program offers you like $100, but when you go to check out, it's $500 and something unless you don't want pain meds, you don't want the right anesthesia. It's like, I'm not going to put my dog under a butcher, butchering them, without pain meds. So it's hard for people. And then these appointments are 4 or 5 months out. And our shelters here, I've never seen anything like it. We're adopting out animals that are not spayed and neutered, and then expecting the community to do it. You're expecting the adopter to go do it.
Yeah.
And then we've got, breeders, and we've got, the issues on Skid Row are just absolutely appalling. And we have laws in place to protect these animals, but they're not being enforced. So another thing that I keep thinking about is, can we make some kind of volunteer workforce that can go out and give citations and actually enact these laws? Because we've got them, but if nobody's enforcing them, then what are we going to do?
Well, so in the West Valley Police Station, there is a new pet task force. And I've been invited to be deputized.
Okay.
And it allows you to have a full carry. And if you witness a person abusing an animal, you can arrest them and
That's
take
exactly
their animal.
What we need.
So I'll introduce you to the gentleman.
Please do.
Because they're looking for more people. That
We need
will be
it.
this division
Yes.
for pet wellness enforcement. No, you will get a badge.
That's amazing.
You'll have a full carry. You have to go and for the 2 hour
Do the courses,
training, which they do as part of it. But now you're deputized, and you by law can take the animal away from a person legally.
This is like music to my ears. This is what we need, because
So in fact, he wants to come on. I'll try to get him to come on next week, because he said, Mike, I want to get more people to be our warriors.
Oh, and I've got, I mean, we have, the one thing that we have is a strong community between a few Instagram pages. We are like a task force. As soon as somebody will post a video of an abuse case. As soon as we have the address, either myself or one of these other, there's like 10 of us on these posts, same people over and over again. We go. Like, and we have been in altercations. We have chased people down. We have figured out where someone lives that is abusing an animal based off of a Tesla video. I mean, we're like doing the most, but we're getting these animals rescued, but usually with no help and no law enforcement backing us. And even when we bring them, they just give the dog back. So something like that could be
what
huge
they do
here.
is they ask you to tape with your phone.
Yeah.
And you telling them that I'm confiscating, and here's my badge. Right? You have to render it, because if they don't, then they're in trouble. You have the right to take it from them. If not, then you call up and they come and arrest them.
Oh, I love that.
So now you can enforce it.
That's amazing.
So the good thing is, if you have a network of people, you can work it out.
Yeah.
But what they do is, because they know how people can be dangerous, they are including a full carry, because you will have people that will give you a problem.
do, and we have people attack us and people pull out guns. I mean, it's wild out there.
So the good thing is, there's a problem that's being addressed by law enforcement now. That's the great news.
I love that.
Is because what you just said was segueing into what I was going to bring up anyway. Now you can do it, because they've read it, Mike. I said, well, listen, I already have a full carry, but I'd like to have that badge. And if I see someone messing around, and really violently mistreating a pet, that will not happen in front of my watch. Right?
Same.
I mean, I've witnessed people attempting to hurt pets, and I've stepped in and stopped it, and made it clear that you don't treat an animal so disrespectful. I mean, I had caught this one guy. He was whipping a puppy because it peed on his carpet, and he was hitting it with the leash, and I just grabbed his arm and I took the leash, and I said, "No, not on my watch."
Good.
And I took the puppy away. He said he was going to call the cops. I said, call him.
You're like, go ahead.
What are you going to do? I look at the welts. The nose is bleeding.
Yeah.
You brutally beat an 8-week-old Labrador puppy for peeing on your carpet. That's what puppies do.
And most of the time, there's no microchip or any like history of vetting. Like, I've been threatened so many times. Like, I've had to like monitor my social media. I've had people come to my home, but there's really not a whole lot. I mean, other than physically trying to harm you, there's nothing really legally that most of these people can do. Some people get a little smart and they'll start microchip, or if they steal a dog, they'll microchip right away. But there's usually no trail. So there's no proof that they even own this animal, even though I hate to say own. They can't say that this is their companion animal,
Yeah, no, but I want to thank you for coming on. I know that we'll be bringing you on for Pet Health. I know we'll be bringing you on for Pet Health Month with other stories, but I wanted to be able to close this episode with Louis to share what you're doing and how we can work together to save these animals' lives.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's go month of June.
That's right, baby. Share this episode. We need to save those innocent lives. It's important. So please share this. I want to know that you're going to follow through what we're doing. Protect those innocent animals, our four-legged furry friends. They need your love and support. And also, keep watching and share this episode. Get this message out. It's important. Thank you for watching.